Is your child a picky eater? Many parents, myself included, would probably answer yes to this question, but also not worry too much about it. Except now, a new study shows there may be more cause to worry than we thought. Our picky eaters may be at risk for other problems unrelated to food. Here with the story is WSJ health reporter Sumathi Reddy. Sumathi, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
The previous wisdom has been that being a picky eater or a selective eater is not such a big deal for a child, correct?
Yes, I think most parents and pediatricians think, oh, it's something that they'll outgrow.
It's a phase, right? So tell us about this new study in the journal Pediatrics.
So this found that there was an association, not causal, but an association between some of these more moderate and extreme picky eaters and anxiety, depression, symptoms of anxiety, depression, in some cases ADHD.
Interesting. And difficulty relating socially as well? Is there any of that? A little bit of social anxiety?
Yes,
social anxiety.
Exactly.
So I guess the big question is, what moderate? Where's moderate? You know, we all have children with some form of selective eating. I don't say all, but most of us have children with some form of selective eating. So how do we know when it's a problem?
So severe means that you're actually not doing certain activities because of your child's eating habits, like not going on to birthday parties, not going on play dates, not going to sleepovers, that kind of thing.
Right. How does this relate to children who sadly have very selective eating habits because they have allergies and they have to? I know some children who have a whole range of food allergies and have to be very selective.
Yeah, that's
were
a
they
great
included
question.
in the study?
No,
they were not.
Okay. People with allergies. It also didn't include autistic children who have a very high rate of severe pickiness.
Okay, so I think that most parents would say, well, look, my child goes through phases. Is that normal? Where sometimes they'll only eat buttered noodles, or other times, you know, they'll only eat hamburgers. Is it normal for children to go through phases like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's normal for kids to be naturally selective. I mean, they're predisposed to like salty and sweet food, so they're going to reject a lot of foods. About 12% of kids will outgrow this, but there are, 8 to 10 that won't.
At what stage are they supposed to be outgrowing this?
Pretty early on. So this study looked at kids between 2 and 5, and they followed them for an average of 3 years. So they should, by kindergarten, they should have sort of outgrown most of this.
And when you say outgrown most of this, would researchers like to see your children eating everything from sushi to Thai food? Like, what is it that we're supposed to be feeding our kids?
No, I think as long as it's not affecting, like, the domains of your life.
Okay.
Like, eating at daycare or school is not too challenging. Or dinner time is not a fight every night.
So we're still talking about everyday foods. We're not talking about exotic foods, spicy foods.
No, not.
We're talking about a full range of normal foods.
The normal food groups. You know, you're eating dairy, you're eating vegetables, you're eating fruit.
And what's the advice that experts have for getting our children to eat a wider variety of foods?
So key is like actually starting that at very early ages. At 1, you should really be introducing your kids to all kinds of foods, because that really sets the stage for the future. If they reject it once, don't just, a lot of parents will be like, oh, they don't like this, we're not going to give it to them again.
Keep trying.
Research has found 10 to 15 times sometimes it takes for a baby to
10 to 15 times. So if you give them a new food next to a food that they like and keep doing that, eventually they might try the new food?
So it might take 10 to 15 times, and very small amounts is good. They don't have to, eat a whole plate of something, just a tiny bit, just to condition it to, make sure that it's something that they
Very good advice. So we knew we had to mix up food for nutritional reasons. Now we know we have to get our children to eat a wide range of food for social reasons or for, to lessen their anxiety. Is it anxiety found in all walks of their lives, or is it mostly social anxiety that's tied?
This is a pretty early study, so I think more research needs to be done. And in a lot of cases, it was symptoms of anxiety and depression.
Okay.
Not necessarily a diagnosis.
Right.
These are very young children, so. But for the severe picky eaters, they had higher rates of diagnoses of depression and social anxiety.
But do they know, is it sort of a which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, they don't know. I mean, the researcher thought like it could also be used as a screening tool. So maybe like at this very young age, we can screen these kids for anxiety and depression just because we know they have a higher likelihood of having those sort of disorders later.
Fascinating. All right, those vegetables are going back on the plate. Thank you, Sumathi, for that.